So what I was trying to say that the new civilization that we want to build, excuse me, can I get a drink of water? Yeah. The new civilization, sorry. New civilization that we want to build, thank you. I'll keep it here. Will be based on discovering ourselves as human beings, moving away from the robotic kind of structure and attitude that we have built in us. So that will be a civilization which will be used, which will be established the basic elements of human being. And those basic elements about sharing, about caring about each other. That civilization doesn't have any room for war. Because if you care for each other, there's no question of war. War comes as a kind of dismissal of all arguments or negotiation and discussions. Human being has grown enough over this whole history how to resolve our disputes, our disagreements. We have to establish a mechanism, satisfaction of both sides. Is it too much to ask for human being? Is human being not mature enough to do that yet? That's why we go back to the younger generation. That's what we'll be discussing during our family gathering. How to get to the young people. They understand issues very clearly in a transparent way. And when we see through the prism of money, we confuse ourselves. We fool ourselves. But since the young generation still didn't get through that prism yet, their eyes are still clear. Their minds are not contaminated by all those confusing things that we have been circulating around, doing some token thing and say we have solved it. Token thing is not a solution. It's escapism. You escape from that reality of it by doing a little thing here and say we did it. It's enormous capacity that human being has on this planet, never used to protect this planet. We merrily destroy this planet. Every day we do that. That's why we go to the young people with a simple message. I hope this message will also go to the grown-ups too. But we are focusing on the young people, creating 3-0 clubs. In order to build the 3-0 world, we have to take little steps, very tiny steps, bite-sized steps to create 3-0 club. Very simple idea. 5 young people, fixed. We love the number 5 because whole Grameen Bank is built on number 5. Everything in Grameen Bank does all over around the world is about 5 women get together, form a group. And then the basis of everything which defied the entire banking system, the power of 5 friends together. They built the whole banking system, discarding all the rules and procedures of banking, and does wonderful banking better than the conventional banking. That's the power of 5. And we explain it very simply. We said conventional bank go to the rich. We do the opposite. We go to the poor. Conventional banks go to men. We go to women. Conventional banks go to the city center. We go to the remote village. Conventional banks want you to come to the premises of their own premises. People should come to their premises to do business. We said we defied it. We said people should not go to the bank. Bank should go to the people. That's the way it should be. Conventional bank took it as their truth that people are not trustworthy. So they bring their lawyers. They ask for collaterals so that you tie it down completely so that that guy cannot escape from you. We dismissed the whole idea of collateral, lawyers, and so on. And we created a bank or a banking system free from lawyers. In the entire banking system that we have, all the billions of dollars that we give to the poor women, there is no lawyer in our system. Conventional bank gets shocked. How can you give money? Maybe you give small money that works. I said, we give small money, but together it's billions of dollars. In Grameen Bank today, with the 10 million borrowers, they lend out over $3 billion a year. And that grows. Grameen America already crossed $3 billion. They're planning for 20 billion in the next 10 years. No documents, no collateral, no lawyers. But the money comes back in Grameen America. Their record of entire 14 years of operation, the repayment rate has remained over 99.5% and above. Any bank in the world will be super happy to get to that repayment rate with all their lawyers, with all their collaterals, or everything. Why? How does it work? Because we brought trust into the picture. The entire banking is done with trust. People say trust is not trustworthy. I said, that's what you think. You go back to the trust, you'll find out real human being. We work it out ourselves to this 5-member groups. Nothing formal, not registered, no legal entity, just informal friendship between 5 friends. That makes all the trick. So when we talk about 3-0 world, people say, that's not possible. I said, that's what they told us when I started giving money to poor people. It will never work. Are you crazy? Poor people taking money will disappear, never show up again. Well, simply say, I never took any money from you. We get very excited. We make impossibles possible. That's our job. That's what the human being is all about. For human beings, the day human being was born on this planet, everything was impossible. The history of human being is to make everything possible. So when we see something impossible, we get very excited. We have a chance now to make it possible. We worry that if everything becomes possible, what do? We have no work left. So that's the spirit, that we hunt for impossibles and make it possible. And that's the commitment we go back with after Turin, after we have discussed our talk, we've shaken hands and hugs each other. We gather here. We'll hug everybody because we see each other after 3 years. How to get into a conference is face each other, sit down with each other, have lunch with each other, dinner with each other. So makes us super strong now as a 3-0 person. If a young person can make himself and herself into a 3-0 person, whole world will be a 3-0 world. That's the start. It's just always the smallest step. That smallest step will take us to the million-mile journey. Because if you know how to take the first step, the rest is very simple. Just repeat. Repetition is what makes the journey possible. You don't learn first lesson and then learn second lesson. You don't learn the second step. It's just a repetition of the first step. And people miss that point. People always have a grand plan and don't know where to start. So our job is to make the first step, design, prototype design. And once we learn that, that's what the 3-0 clubs will be doing. How to make myself into a 3-0 person. How to make sure my contribution to global warming, I bring it to 0. If I know how to bring it to zero, global warming, well,